Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Monday, April 21st, 2014, and we've got a good amount to talk about. We got the NBA playoffs have started, which, I mean, they have been pretty solid games. The Wizards somehow beating the Bulls. We also have the Charlotte Bobcats almost added over the Miami Heat. Probably not, but I just like to hope and hope the Bobcats can do it. San Antonio Spurs escape against the Dallas Mavericks in game one, and we got more to talk about. You know, Blake Griffin throwing water on fans and acting like nothing happened. Lots to talk about for the NBA playoffs. We also have college football news to talk about. Not a whole lot, but some good news for TCU. Best believe I'm going to talk about that. Some NFL news, including whatever happened over the weekend. Teams picking up the 2015 options, and including one team not picking up a star player for their 2015 option. We'll talk about that. And also, today starts the Boston Marathon, and it's also, it happened, a year and a week ago, but since, Boston Marathon starts this week, it's like the 1 year remembrance of the Boston Marathon bombing, so we will also have a moment of silence for that. But first, we will talk about the college football news, and that includes Louisville University. The Louisville Cardinals have signed a 5-year, $40 million shoe and apparel deal to remain with Adidas. The deal is through the 2018 and the 2019 school year, and I guess that's okay for Louisville. They want to stay with Adidas, but honestly, if I'm a school and an athletic director, and I'm looking, at our deals running out, who are we going to stay with? Are we going to stay with Adidas? Or are we going to stay, are we going to move off and go to Nike, Under Armour? Really, that's basically it, isn't there? I mean, there's probably other smaller places, but, no one wants to go there. But honestly, I mean, why not go to Nike? I mean, and it could be the money. Maybe Nike, I'm sure Nike offered Louisville. There's no way Nike didn't offer Louisville a deal. But I'm assuming maybe Adidas, gave them benefit of the doubt, saying, hey, we'll give you 5 years, maybe give you more than Nike did, more money in the $40 million range, throwing things here and there because you've been with us for so long, this and that. But honestly, I would go to Nike. I mean, everybody has something from Nike. You go look in your closet, I promise you most likely have something from Nike. But one thing I was excited when I was reading through the little article in Louisville is that Tennessee, who used to be with Adidas as well, is now going to be with Nike. I'm late to that news, but that is awesome to hear that Tennessee is going to be with Nike. I don't know if they've released any uniforms. I'm going to go check after this show. But that's got to look nice in some way. I mean, you got a peach, orangish, yellowish color for Tennessee and Nike. I'm sure they're smart enough to create something that's going to look good. I know they got that gray uniform. I hope they still keep that. That looked pretty nice for Tennessee. But other teams like Texas A&M, they're still with Adidas. I don't understand. I mean, Adidas is nice and all, but I would go with Nike. And one thing that bothers me, I'm spending too much time on this, but is Texas State, my home school over here in San Marcos, has a deal with Adidas. Now, the thing is, they're in the Sun Belt Conference. Not a lot of people know Texas State. That's okay. But and if you want, just go check them up. It's pretty nice. I doing a little bit of a pitch for Texas State here, but they have the same uniform design, at least for the jersey. Might have for the same as the pants. At least, for the jersey, Texas State has the same uniform design as Arkansas State, who is also in the Sun Belt Conference. Wow. Really, Adidas, you couldn't think like, hey, since you know the school is going to be in the same conference as someone else, and I don't know if Arkansas State is with Adidas as well. Might as well be, because they have the same uniform design as for the jersey as Texas State. And Texas State got it late, so Arkansas State had it first. But I'm just saying, Why? Why have the same uniform design as someone else that you already know is in the same conference? That's the worst. I mean, I know it's hard to get different uniform designs. You're gonna have someone else's design from a different school, but don't have it in the same conference school. That's just ridiculous. So hopefully Texas State, hopefully you hear this, and maybe Nike, maybe someone from Nike, go after Texas State. I would love for Texas State to go with Nike. It's incredible how they haven't. They just signed a deal with Adidas. But anyways, moving on. Great news for TCU, and I'm a huge TCU fan. As former Texas A&M quarterback Matt Jokel has transferred from A&M to TCU, and as a senior, he will be eligible to play for this season for the Frogs. And we need all the help we can get offensively. In 2 seasons in the Big 12, TCU is ranked no better than 8th in total offense, and that's terrible. There's only 10 schools, and we're 8th in total offense. I mean, that's including Kansas. Kansas State last year didn't really do that well. Iowa State. Who else has a bad offense? I mean, really, it's an offensive type conference. So, yeah. But anyways, that's not good. That's not the TCU we know. And now we have, Casey Paul is gone. Trevon Boykin, really, he's, I wanted him to become the next big quarterback for TCU, but obviously in the 2 seasons he's been there, and really it kind of hurt him because his freshman year he was at quarterback, but then moved to running back, and in that same week as he was training to become a running back because of injury issues to our depth at running back, Casey Paul gets arrested and suspended off the team, and that made, Trevon Boykin only had 1 day to prepare at going back as a quarterback and had to play against Iowa State, which was a disaster that year. Oh, man, it was terrible. But in 2 seasons, he really hasn't shown the poise at a quarterback position as you need. And he switched over and played a little bit at wide receiver when Casey Paul came back this year and did okay. He was actually probably our best wide receiver, and I hate saying that because we have so many talented wide receivers. They're just inconsistent. But anyways, now having Matt Jokel coming to TCU, his other option was SMU. He wanted to come back to DFW area, and I'm glad he chose TCU. It's going to be really good for our quarterback competition. I don't see Trevon Boykin being the quarterback anymore. I think he's out of the picture now with Jokel in. Boykin will move over to wide receiver, slot, wherever. He might play a little bit at a wildcat type position at quarterback because that would throw off a defense, knowing that he does play wide receiver, but he does have 2 years as a quarterback, so he can't throw the ball. But with Jokel in and the freshmen that we have coming in for TCU at quarterback is awesome. We have Foster Sawyer, who's proclaimed to be the next great quarterback and could be one of the greatest quarterbacks at TCU. I mean, that's over Sammy Bogg and over Andy Dalton. So who knows? Just coming in, hasn't even played a snap, and he's got all this hype to him. And hopefully the hype doesn't go to his head. Hopefully he's really good. Also have Grayson Muselane or something like that, who's also a really good quarterback coming in. Both of these guys coming from prep schools in the Dallas area. So it's going to be interesting for the quarterback competition, but I'm glad Jokel's in. He brings leadership. He was also behind one of the greatest college quarterbacks, arguably one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever to play, and that's Johnny Manziel. So he's learned from him a little bit. So he can also bring in that teaching. We also have Zach Allen, who could be really good. We did lose Tyler Matthews, who did transfer over. Who knows where he's going to go, but he did leave, and that was before Jokel even made his decision to transfer. So, it's kind of coincidence how we just got them. So we'll see. But I'm really excited for TCU this season as we got Jokel in. I don't know if he'll be the starter, and that's the crazy part because he does have a chance to be the starter. But one of these Foster Sawyer, I'm seeing the hype in him, and he might be really, really good to be as a freshman come in. But hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm really hoping. I'm about to switch off subject. I don't want to get people all on TCU right now, but I'm really hoping that Matt Jokel steps in and learns the system, which should be fairly easy for him because these coaches fit his system. So hopefully having Jokel in as a senior, he plays this year, does really good for us. That way we can redshirt both Foster Sawyer and Grayson, which I don't know if I'm saying his first name right. But anyways, we know who we're talking about if you're a TCU fan. Redshirt both of them. That way they can learn the system, but also don't have to waste a year. And, see Zach Allen, see how he can play out with the quarterback competition with him. And, use Jokel as he's coming in for us. Let's get him in there. So we can only get better. I mean, no better than 8th in total offense in 2 years for TCU in the Big 12. So we can only get better. So I'm excited for this season. But moving on, the last thing for college football is there's a new rule proposal for college football as student athletes who seek transfers due to, quote, difficult life circumstances will have to sit out a season at their new school, but will gain an extra year of eligibility starting the 2015-2016 school year, according to a proposal by the NCAA Division I Leadership Council. Basically what that means, if you're at Ohio State and you're from Florida, but you want to transfer, and you don't really want to go to an FCS school, just because you don't want to lose that year of eligibility. Because if you transfer to an FBS school, you then lose a year, and that's it. And then you can play whatever your next year is. Anyways, now this means if you're at Ohio State, you're from Florida, you really want to go back home because you hate Ohio weather, then you can transfer to the University of Miami. Still have to sit out a year, but you gain an extra year. So if you're a sophomore and you transfer, you lose your junior year, but you're then a senior and still have an extra year of eligibility afterwards. That kind of thing. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know what they're going to call it. They're going to call it a senior TS, transfer something. They got red shirt. Maybe it's transfer shirt. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to name it, but I like that. And NCAA Board of Directors will rule on this proposal this Thursday and most likely will pass, as I believe I was reading, out of 136 waivers of, trying to get that extra year back from players that transferred, 127 were accepted. So that's a huge thing, 127 at 136. So most likely we're going to see this rule get passed. And it's a good rule, it helps the college athletes not lose a year. They have to sit out still, but they'll be able to come back, another. It's not really losing out. Anyways, moving on, NFL news. And the best news of all is that we have 17 more days until the NFL draft. That is right, 17 more days till the NFL draft, the moment we've all been waiting for. Johnny Manziel, where is he going to go? Is it, Jadeveon Clowney? It's going to be awesome. May 8th is when it happens through the 10th. But one thing I was reading, and as a San Diego Chargers fan, I'm excited for the draft. I think we can address a lot of key areas that we need help at, especially at the defensive spots. And they're all in the draft. And it's very exciting to see these guys hopefully become stars for our team. But one thing I was reading it was an ESPN article, and said it makes sense for the San Diego Chargers to trade out of the first round and move into the second round, get an extra pick in the second and third. Their example was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If the Jacksonville Jaguars don't get a quarterback and they get a defensive player in Khalil Mack, if Clowney's still there, whoever else, they don't get a quarterback basically. Get some defensive player or offensive tackle and Greg Robinson, Jake Matthews. Anyways, example was, Jaguars don't get a quarterback then. They trade with the San Diego Chargers with the 25th pick. San Diego gets a second and third round extra picks. And Jacksonville moves into the first, gets a quarterback late in the draft, as Teddy Bridgewater might be drafting Blake Bortles if he's still there. I don't see Manziel being there anyways. And that kind of it's like a bittersweet thing, because it's, you look at it, you trade out of the first round, that excitement that you had for day one of draft day is all gone because you just traded out, and most likely with just a few picks left to go, you're not going to trade back in. Very uncertain that you're going to trade back in. So you lose your first round draft pick, and we need help at cornerback. Most likely those guys are going to be gone by the time you get your second round pick, but you do get 2 second round picks and 2 third round picks. That's pretty good. That's a really nice thing to have, but I don't know. And they're not saying that's actually going to happen. They're just giving more examples and how it would make sense of those the Chargers and Jaguars to do that. But I kind of hope we don't, because I want to have that first round draft pick. But then again, you do get 2 picks in the second round and 2 picks in the third. That would be nice to have. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But anyways, the Oakland Raiders made news over the weekend saying they plan to cut Terrell Pryor, quarterback Terrell Pryor, today if they could not trade him. If they couldn't trade him by today. So basically, it's Monday. It's still Monday morning. On the West Coast, it's only 7:15 right now. So we still have all day to do this, but they said if they could not trade him by Monday, they will cut him. So most likely he will be cut by the Oakland Raiders sometime this week, as no one's really going to trade for him because it doesn't make sense. If the Raiders are going to cut him anyways. But that's going to be interesting. I thought Terrell Pryor would want to stay, put up a fight. I know Matt Schaub came in, and then he would have to battle not only Schaub, but you have to battle Matt McGloin, who did some solid, playing time for the Oakland Raiders, did okay. But I feel like if I'm Terrell Pryor, I'm looking at it, you have the hype and the fan support. The Oakland Raiders want Terrell Pryor because he's that dual threat quarterback that we love to watch on the field. So that's a huge plus. And negotiating wise, if something happens to Matt Schaub, you have fan support. So that helps you in negotiating your contract, whether you want more money, more years, less years. I doubt you want less money. So it helps you that way. So if I'm Terrell Pryor, I'm thinking of that. And also I'm thinking Matt Schaub really had a really bad year last year. So all it takes is him to have 2 games where he throws pick sixes, and everybody's talking about it against. You're seeing it on SportsCenter. You're seeing on other talk shows. On my show, just saying. You're hearing that, and then there's that hype starts growing again for you. Let's put Pryor in. You hear your name getting chanted in the crowds. So with all that, you still have a really good chance of becoming a starting quarterback for the Oakland Raiders before midseason, for sure midseason. I don't see Matt Schaub doing that great. So honestly, and I know his salary, I think this in his last year of his contract right now, he's going to make $705,000 this year, which is very, very low in the NFL. So with all that being said, if I'm Terrell Pryor, I want to stay in Oakland. If Pryor's reason is because he wants to become a starting quarterback in the NFL, the Raiders are still your chance. The Raiders are going to draft a quarterback at some point in the draft. They're not going to draft in the first round a quarterback. And you never know with the Oakland Raiders. They made some pretty stupid draft picks so far. But, if they're smart, there's no reason to get a quarterback. And with Matt Schaub, I'm pretty sure they're not going to. But I do see, 5th, 6th round, Raiders drafting a quarterback just to bring in some more competition. But if I'm Terrell Pryor, I want to stay in Oakland because you still have a really, really, really good shot at being the starting quarterback. I think he's better than Matt McGloin. He can develop better. I wasn't a huge fan of Terrell Pryor when he was at Ohio State and, now. But, he's starting to grow. I mean, I think Pryor can be really good. And as a Chargers fan, I hope he's not there because he beat us in week 3 or 4. That was embarrassing. We lost pretty bad too. It wasn't even close. So I don't want him there. But for Terrell Pryor, since stay in Oakland, dude. Try to just stay your one last year because if anything, it's your last year on the contract. Get paid, go in free agency, and hope for something good. Because if he gets cut, you're looking at maybe Jacksonville, but they're going to draft the quarterback first, second round. and he's probably a lot better than you. So, just saying. But anyways, moving on. 49ers running back Marcus Lattimore will be healthy for this season. Plans on being in the rotation after LaMichael James possibly being traded. And the crazy thing is, now I need to talk about this on this show. Now, now I found out he was my cousin the entire time. We were friends in high school. We had senior English class, and anyways, he's getting ready to play college football next season. I will talk about him more once he is getting closer to that, helping his name get out there. But we've been working out, since last year. Fall semester probably. Yeah, maybe spring semester. Anyways, it was last year, my senior year of high school. And anyways, we've been working out since, and he never knew he was my cousin until right before I moved to Seattle. But anyways, that's just the backstory. Name's Carlos Oliva. And we talk about sports like crazy. That football is his dream to play college football, and he will get that chance next season, which is going to be exciting to watch him. But also, me talking about sports all the time, that's my dream. We were talking about last week, and hopefully people can believe me on this, because it really did happen. And we were talking about LaMichael James. He likes Carlos loves Oregon. I like the uniforms. I don't really like Oregon that much, but we were talking about LaMichael James and how we thought he could be a really good running back, and that if he just got out of San Francisco, he might develop into a star running back in the NFL, which is hard to see because of the NFL all passing right now. But anyways, we were talking about, it's like, man, LaMichael James really should get traded, and, he should go here, he should go there. Anyways, we find out later that week, the reports came out that LaMichael James wants out of San Francisco, and also that the 49ers are trying to trade him. And, I sent him a text message when I found out the report. I was like, yo, check this out. We were just talking about this, LaMichael James getting traded. So, anyways, now that that's in the past, and I would have talked about it on my show Friday if I had one, but now it's only on Mondays. But anyways, what I do want to talk about is something that me and him have talked about for a while. So if this does happen, if we predicted the future on LaMichael James, we want to get credit on this next part. And first, let me say the report came out before we talked about it, but the talk about the Detroit Lions trading up with the St. Louis Rams to try to get the second overall pick and draft Sammy Watkins. That came out first, but we did talk about how powerful that offense would be, and we talked about I have to go back on it, but we set some stats for him. So obviously football season's still quite a ways away, so I'll talk to Carlos again and try to get our stats, what we said. But we talked about Sammy Watkins going to Detroit and the possibilities, of that offense and what could happen with the Detroit Lions. So I do want to get that out there and just say, hey, we did talk about it probably first than anybody else. And we did talk about LaMichael James being traded before anybody else. Just saying. Now, I know other people said it before, but I'm just saying that, it was so recent, it just happened just like that because we talked about it. No, not really. But anyways, it's really cool. We will talk about it more, though. But just want to say, hey, we did break the news first. We just happened to not say it out in public. We were just talking to each other about it. But anyways, got to get that out there. I will talk about it more. We talk about every week we go out and work out. We'll talk about football and stuff. And if we come up with anything, new ideas, I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it first. That's what I said. Dang it, I should have tweeted it. I know I haven't been on Twitter in a while, guys. I'm sorry. Twitter's just been on Facebook most. I like, doing the Facebook post. But Twitter, I'm sorry. I let you down. I'll come back for you. But some news over the weekend. Moving on is wide receiver Chad Johnson. Chad Ochocinco has signed a 2-year deal with the Montreal Alouettes of the CFL. The Alouettes, oh wow, that's weird to say, will hold a training camp in June and open their regular season against the Calgary Stampeders, which is my favorite team of the CFL, on June 28th. And Chad Johnson, this is your time. This is your time to show that your 36-year-old self can still play football. Apparently, I was reading the report and it said that, Montreal already has pretty good wide receivers, so having Johnson, how is he going to be able to fit in their game? And, the GM of the Alouettes, was praising Johnson really high. Said that, over the 3 days that they held him there, well, not held him there, that sounds like prison, but 3 days that he was there, he did really, really good. They're impressed by how his, ability to still get in the open field and play. So it's going to be exciting. I'm sure a lot of people are going to start watching CFL just for Chad Johnson and see how he can play. Hopefully this really isn't a thing for the Montreal Alouettes for selling tickets because of Chad Johnson being there. I really hope Chad Johnson still has it, because I would love to see by mid-season, I'm going to say it here first, by mid-season of the CFL, well, actually not mid-season of CFL because they start June 28th, so by that time, NFL season hasn't even started. Anyways, by the end of the year, in mid-season of the NFL, I would love to see Chad Johnson on an NFL roster, and I predict that he will be on an NFL roster by mid-season in the NFL because of CFL. And this will get him to play more, and I'm sure in his contract it says if an NFL team offers me at any point, whether it's today or the day before the Super Bowl, I can break this contract and I can go play in the NFL. I guarantee you it says something just like that in his contract. Because that's the whole point. I mean, yes, he wants to get back in football, and NFL hasn't really offered that to him now, but I promise you that is in his contract, and I really, really hope for Chad Johnson's sake he impresses so much at the CFL level that NFL teams not only give him a workout and tryout again, but also sign him and play him back in the roster, and he does play real NFL snaps and not preseason. I'm talking about real NFL snaps, regular season, 2014 season. It'd be awesome to see Chad Johnson go again with any team, and I would love to see him on San Diego. If I was San Diego Chargers, man, I would go after Chad Johnson just for the heck of it, because we need extra help at wide receiver. I mean, not extra help. We don't need that much help. I mean, we had the fourth best passing offense in the NFL. Plug it right there for the Chargers. But have them there. Teach, Kyle Allen. Johnson just has, you want to bring in veterans just because of the, if they can't play as highly, they can teach higher than any of your players you have right now. So that's a huge thing you can't really get with a lot of players. So Chad Johnson, I'm sure, I know he's got to be more mature now, and he's really just, now it's just playing in the NFL. First it was just, playing just to play football, and just now it's just trying to get back there, and I bet he's more humble now. So I'd bring him in, and that'd be awesome to see him play. But anyways, moving on, Baltimore Ravens activated linebacker Rolando, I swear I thought his name was different. I don't know why. McClain off the reserve retired list Thursday, 2 days after a, quote, disastrous first workout with the team. Apparently on Tuesday, McClain was reportedly 22 minutes late for his workout with the Ravens and failed to complete the team's conditioning test. Yet the team still activated him on the team. Anyways, the Ravens signed McClain to a 1-year deal worth a veteran minimum of $700,000. It is a risk-free contract for the Ravens, which means it is not guaranteed money. So, they could cut him at any point, and they don't have to pay him not a penny. Well, I'm sure, whatever weeks go by, depends on how much they'll pay him. But they don't have to pay him the full $700,000 like you do in most contracts. But anyways, McClain was number 8 overall pick in the 2010 draft by the poor Oakland Raiders, and it was trouble ever since then coming out of Alabama. He was suspended for 2 games by the Raiders in 2012 after arguing with head coach Dennis Allen, and he was also arrested 3 times in an 11 month span. Just but who knows? And also there are talks, in mock drafts that the Baltimore Ravens with the 17th overall pick will look at C.J. Mosley, linebacker out of Alabama as well. McClain has played at Alabama, and there's, it's not fair for C.J. Mosley, but there's talks of saying, do you really want to draft this guy? Because we saw what the Raiders did drafting a linebacker out of Alabama, and he was nothing but trouble, and that's the guy you have now. Do you want to take the same shot? And it's not fair for CJ Mosley. It's not fair, but that comparison will come up because Rolando McClain was a star at Alabama. He was a dominant linebacker at Alabama, and, so was CJ Mosley. He, wasn't talked as much as McClain was, but, that comparison will still be there. So we'll have to see on that if he does make it for the Ravens. But no surprise here, as the Houston Texans have officially exercised the fifth-year option on defensive end he's just a defensive end, J.J. Watt, contract for the 2015 season. In just 3 years with the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt has 36.5 sacks and was the 2012 Defensive Player of the Year. I also spammed you guys on Facebook with teams picking up options on players, and I'm going to do it again. So here we go. San Diego Chargers exercised, fifth-year option on defensive lineman Corey Liuget. I'm going to say legit. Anyways, on him. And offensive tackle Tyron Smith's option was picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. The Baltimore Ravens also announced their exercised option on cornerback Jimmy Smith. And the New York Jets also picked up the option on defensive end Muhammad Wilkerson. I know I was on Facebook and I just went to town because I saw all these options being picked up. I was like, I got to get this news out there. So I quickly, posted all these things, and it just came in like less than 5 minutes. It was just do. Sorry about that. When I'm at work, I can't really post anything. So when I get home and I see all this news, I'm just like, I got to get this out there. But, all other good stuff. But one thing I did know, that was my bad. I was at work all day, and I did not get to, I couldn't break the news either way, but I wanted to put it on my page, and that was the Chris Johnson signing with the Jets. It really sucked that I could not get that out there. I really wanted to, but it was already really, really late. I think, it was late at night, too, and I was like, should I really post it, even though it's really late, or should I just move on without it? So I moved on without it because I'd rather just break the news when it happens. If it doesn't happen within a 3-hour time span, if I haven't posted something, I'm most likely not going to post it just because then it's really, really late. And, that's my bad. But speaking of 2015 options, I told you we would talk about this. And the 49ers will not pick up option on defensive end / linebacker Aldon Smith after multiple off-the-field issues, including the most recent when Smith, quote, indicated that he had a bomb at LAX. The 49ers have until May 3rd to make the decision on whether they will pick up the option. So this could just be a thing to get Smith and say, hey, we're not going to pick it up this year, last year with the 49ers. And hope that he can make a case saying, look, I'm changing. I promise you this season, I'll do it. I'll do what I can, or, I'll do more than what I can to make sure I'm back and I'm good. These problems won't happen again. Please pick up my option and see what goes from there. But they have until May 3rd, which is just, 2 weeks away. That is on, next Saturday? Not this Saturday, next Saturday. So we'll see. The New Orleans Saints re-signed wide receiver Robert Meacham to a 1-year deal. And the good news of the day is Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly is coming back home to Buffalo. He will no longer be at the hospital in New York anymore, even though Buffalo's in New York. But he's coming back home, which is really good. It's really, really good for him. But that's it for college football. That's it for the NFL. Moving on is the NBA playoffs. And everybody's played game 1 now. On Saturday, Brooklyn Nets defeated the Toronto Raptors 94-87. I was really going for the Raptors. I really hope the Raptors can win this series because Toronto really has never been good. So let them have a little bit of light. And I don't like Jason Kidd as a coach anymore. I don't like him. So hopefully Toronto can step it up and get this win. Also, Golden State escaped the LA Clippers 109-105. And Blake Griffin, what are you doing? I mean, I understand some fans can really, really irritate you, but throwing water on a poor fan, or actually not a poor fan, he actually had it coming. I would have done the same, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure a lot of people would have done the same. That thought crosses your mind. You have water in your hand, and you're just like, this guy keeps talking blank over and over. Oh, I should throw water on him as if I'm looking up at a replay and I get upset. So 1, 2, 3, here we go. Bam! And just get him right in the face. That was funny. The fan had it coming, though, if he was really talking mess. But Blake Griffin, you're an NBA player. You got to, present yourself better than that. Also, the Atlanta Hawks surprised everybody. Maybe not everybody. By defeating the Indiana Pacers 101-93. The Hawks, the 8th seed in the East. Pacers being number 1. And Hawks took game 1 on the road. Pacers are in trouble. They have played really bad basketball this past month and a half or so. So we'll see. But the Hawks, give them credit. Give them credit. Let's not take anything away. Let's not just put it all on the Pacers beating themselves up. The Atlanta Hawks came out there to play on the road and to defeat the Pacers 101-93, take game 1. And lastly, on Saturday was Oklahoma City Thunder defeating the Memphis Grizzlies 100-86. No surprise there. And one thing I don't like is how when I'm doing my show, my phone blows up. Text messages, calls, it's really. But when I'm not doing anything at home, there's no news to talk about, there's nothing I'm really doing, then my phone just wants to stay quiet the entire time. It makes no sense. But yesterday, we had some exciting games. Actually, all of them were really, really good. You started off with game 1 for the San Antonio Spurs, number 1 seed San Antonio in the West, taking on number 8 seed Dallas Mavericks. And Mavericks really lost this game. I don't think the Spurs really won it. And I'm not just saying that just to hate on the Spurs or anything, but Mavericks had the lead, had momentum against the San Antonio Spurs, really shocked everybody coming back in the second half, but just failed. I believe in the last 7 minutes and some odd seconds, they were held in the last 7 minutes whatever seconds, they only scored 4 points. While the Spurs went on runs and runs and runs to end up winning the game 90-85 over the Dallas Mavericks and take game 1. Other game was the Miami Heat taking on the Charlotte Bobcats, and I'm really rooting for the Charlotte Bobcats. Now, as Miami Heat, you're either a fan of the Heat or you don't like the Heat. And I like LeBron. I've become a fan of LeBron. I used to hate him. Now I like him. You got to appreciate the greatness of LeBron. I just hate the Heat bandwagon fans, and I really hope Charlotte can win this series. I'm sorry for LeBron. I just want him to hurry up and play his last game as a Heat, come over to LA, play with Kobe to make my dreams happy and satisfied of you being a Laker. It's probably not going to happen, but one can only hope. Other game was Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards defeating the Chicago Bulls 102-93. Wow, who would have thought we had the Charlotte Bobcats and the Washington Wizards and who else in the West, or the Toronto Raptors, all in the playoffs? Really? Even the Nets. You go back beginning mid-season, we thought the Nets were one of the worst teams in the NBA, and yet make the playoffs. Did pretty good. But Charlotte, Washington wins. Washington got the job done. And Chicago, no Derrick Rose. That's old news, but just thought I'd point it out there because it hurts. But the last game last night was the Portland Trail Blazers and the Houston Rockets just going at it. Points are going to be scored this series. It might be the most points scored in a playoff series ever. And it's going to be this one. It's got to be this one that will do it. Trail Blazers beat the Rockets 122-120 in overtime to take game 1. I don't know who you guys are going for. Actually, let me go back and just say, let's see. I'm going for the Raptors to win the series. Going for Golden State. I'm going to go for the Hawks. They might be this, I know there's no really Cinderella team because we're not talking about college basketball, but I'm going to go for the Hawks against the Pacers. These are teams that I want to win. I guess the Thunder, I don't really like Memphis. San Antonio, get it done. Charlotte, please beat Miami. Washington, I'm going to go for the Wizards, and I'm going to go for the Trail Blazers to take it. But today's games are the Memphis Grizzlies on the road at OKC. Take on the Thunder. Thunder lead it again 1-0. And Golden State and the Clippers go at it. Let's see if Blake Griffin throws water in anybody. We might see CP3, State Farm version, go and help clean up or something. I don't know. Golden State and the Clippers take it on. Those two games are today. And that's it for basketball. We'll talk about Major League Baseball. We're going over the showtime limits, but that's okay. Major League Baseball news, and that's Mets manager Terry Collins announced yesterday morning that veteran right-hand pitcher Kyle Farnsworth is a new closer for the Mets after Jose Valverde allowed 4 home runs in his last 3 appearances. Farnsworth did not make the team coming out of spring training, but has allowed just 1 run in 8 appearances since joining the Mets on April 2nd. Other news, Detroit Tigers have released shortstop Alex Gonzalez and called up infielder Danny Wirth from AAA Toledo. 37-year-old Gonzalez was 5 for 30 with the Tigers, and really just a disappointment for the Tigers. Tigers are 9-6 so far this season. Not really what a lot of people thought the Tigers would be, coming as AL favorites this year. Bad news for the Yankees as starting pitcher Ivan Nova has had an MRI that revealed partially torn ulnar collateral ligament in his pitching elbow, and will be placed on the DL for quite a while. And Yasiel Puig does it again. Puig hits a 3-run home run and threw out a runner at second base in a 4-1 win over the Diamondbacks yesterday. And other great news for the Dodgers was pitcher Clayton Kershaw threw a simulated game yesterday at Dodger Stadium at maximum effort and reported no problems afterward. He threw 50 pitches and even reached a little over 90 miles per hour in that simulated game. That's awesome. As a Dodgers fan, Puig's show, woo, he did it. He did it. I'm pumped when Puig gets just shows his talent. It's amazing. And I can't wait to go watch the Dodger game. Hopefully this season, late in the year, I'm gonna try to fly out to LA, go watch a Dodger game. Something I gotta do. Or maybe even move to LA. If a job happens in LA, I'm down to move over there. Trust me, I'll cover the Dodgers like crazy. But that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you for listening. Next show will be next Monday morning. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Link is in the description. Give it a like while you are there, and I break the news while it happens. Sometimes I'm at work and I can't really get on my phone because I'll get in trouble. But hey, help me out. Also, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. And I also have a YouTube channel where I have discussion videos, all that other good stuff. Go check that out. Link is in the description, The Short Sports Show for YouTube. And if you're listening on iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, or YouTube, give it a like, share it with your friends and family, spread the word, spread the love, and help me get out there. Thank you guys for listening. Really, I thought one of the best shows this season, and it's only going to get better as the NFL draft gets closer. NBA playoffs have started. Major League Baseball is crazy. As we had also one thing about baseball. Did anybody see that fight? I mean, it was Easter yesterday. Happy Easter. Happy late Easter for everybody. It was Easter yesterday, and we, who was it from Milwaukee Brewers? Was it Carlos Gonzalez? No, we just said Gonzalez earlier. Gomez I can't remember his name. Anyways, he starts a pick a fight with Garrett Cole, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and well, actually, I think Cole started it first. He said something after Gomez or Gonzalez, I forgot his last name, whoever Brewers player was, got a triple, and he decided to say something, and bam. And the Brewers guy, he even got knocked out too, or he didn't get knocked out, but he got pushed down pretty hard, if not punched in the face, and fell down really awkwardly, and it was pretty funny to watch. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Again, like, share, put it all out there. Help me out. Spread the word. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll be back next Monday. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, YouTube. And I will see you guys then. God first, God bless. I am out. Peace.